I want to get to doing some predictions with the girls. So, girls, I'm going to open up the floor to you and just go with it.
Great.
Okay.
We're ready.
Go ahead. What you got for me?
Okay. Well, we see a stock correction. I feel like it's going to be within the next 6 to 12 weeks, something by August or September, and possibly sooner.
Yeah, I thought
next
even by July, yeah.
6 to 12 weeks, a correction. It may not be as huge, like a huge correction, but we are seeing something around that.
There's a lot of market volatility coming up, so those who are in stocks, be very cautious investing this year.
Now, also, in terms of terror plots, we always have to go there because that's what we're best known for. We saw New York City, of course, and D.C., Washington, D.C. being targets, lone wolf targets.
Yeah, there's a plot for D.C. right now. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens sometime this summer, an attempt, or it feels like there's a plot involving at least 2 men in Washington.
I was feeling by September in New York City.
Yeah.
And I was seeing another thing with ricin or possibly an anthrax plot. Bioterrorism, exactly. And we predicted the ones that happened this year, all the ricin letters that were sent to President Obama
and they're focusing on
Bloomberg
Washington
and New York, the senators in D.C., we predicted all of that. So we're seeing a little bit more of that coming up. President Obama is staying in office. A lot of people are talking about him getting thrown out or resigning or impeached or even assassinated, and we're not seeing that. We see him staying in office for the whole term, Allie.
Yes, we are seeing what?
I went, ew.
Oh, by the way,
we just report the news. We don't comment.
I know.
I didn't mention also in terms of terror plots. Backtracking a little bit, we saw Ohio, Washington State being vulnerable, Michigan. There's a plot in Illinois and Texas, Arizona. These are all coming in as potential terror attacks, school shootings, this type of thing.
It could be lone wolf. Yeah, it's not all Al Qaeda oriented.
No, it feels more lone wolf.
Yes, it does.
When you girls say lone wolf, do you mean within the United States? It's people from.
It refers to 1 or 2 people, 1, 2, or even 3 people that are not necessarily linked to. They may be actually
peripherally involved
with Al Qaeda.
Yeah, peripheral figures on a terrorist network and operating below the radar.
But like the Boston bombers, it was 2 people, but they had what's the word?
But they're self-radicalized through the
radicalized.
internet, and that doesn't mean that they aren't connected with a radical jihadist group. These 2 were, and we did say that there would be a connection there when we predicted that Boston attack. But we are seeing more do-it-yourself attacks in U.S. and Europe that require less training and planning and can, operate more independently of actual terror networks. The peripheral figures are the ones that FBI should focus on more and not let them fall through the cracks like they did with Tsarnaev brothers. Their intentions and movements are difficult to track, lone wolves. And so it's not always easy to spot them. But if you've got a warning from Russia and the Russian CIA is saying, check these guys out, and you do, don't just take them off the radar. Alert the FBI, alert the police in Boston. They did no such thing. They never alerted the police.
And no one in Boston was expecting it. We predicted it.
No.
So that's why we feel like it's important that people open up to their psychic abilities because, yes, there are probably, thousands of people on the watch list.
Yes.
But you have to be psychic. You have to be intuitive to know which ones to pick and choose,
Somebody on YouTube said that we should be on Obama's speed dial because we're hitting all the major attacks that are happening in the U.S.
But I mean, that's what I was saying before. When you make predictions, it's to forewarn. And the whole idea is, it's not about being the brouhaha of the psychic medium world. What it is it's a very legitimate prediction. I mean, and so yes, you have all these years of validated predictions. Somebody needs to step up to the plate and recognize. I mean, listen, you and I both know there's been past presidents that have used psychics and astrologers in their
More
own lives.
astrology, yeah.
Yes, I mean, and so
Even Nancy
there is.
Reagan, yeah.
There is a believability and a belief system in place for some of them. I think if they paid more attention, the predictions would even have more meaning because, forewarned is forearmed. So, in other words,
Absolutely.
obviously you guys predicted even the earthquake, and the shakeup and the tsunami, whatever happened in Japan.
Yes.
I mean, unless the Japanese government is going to pay attention because it was months ahead of time.
It was.
You may not be able to save everybody, but if you can be proactive when hearing these types of predictions in helping to at least thwart the bulk of damage, that's
Right.
the whole point of putting a prediction out.
Well
That's
said.
right.
It's a harbinger or warning for people to potentially take action and avert the disaster or at least mitigate their own suffering.
It makes me kind of wonder how much Nostradamus was able to protect people because he was doing it in hiding and in secret. His predictions weren't even.
They were in anagrams,
yeah,
disguised. And
they were disguised and, in puzzles and things like that. And so
They were not
how
even-
could they help anyone, really?
Yeah, they were not even in chronological order, and it was very hard to figure out what time period he was talking about.
We're lucky in this day and age to have the internet where we can, do these blog shows, Allie, and do the TV shows. And, we're very fortunate in this day and time period to be able to help so many people with the press of a button or Twitter or whatever. We get that prediction out there.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the reason for doing it. It's not because you want to be the end all be all. Nobody cares. The whole idea is when you're that accurate, okay, or at least the percentages are much higher than the average person.
Absolutely.
You have to really conscientiously look at that and say, okay, there's something to it.
Yeah.
Even if you can't explain it,
Yes.
there's something to it. And
Right.
Again, my thing for people is be more proactive in your own life and in the lives of other people. That's why.
That's right.
That's why we do it.
Right. Don't
Lottery
be
numbers,
psychic,
gambling we don't do that for that
don't
reason.
be psychic stupid, we say. That's oblivious to the warning signs, the red flags, the obvious clues. Because if you're really being totally clueless, you're not dialed in. You need to read our book, Psychic Intelligence.
Yeah, and
Don't
not
be psychic
everything.
stupid.
And not all your predictions are, what some people I've read some of the reviews and people say they're scary. They're scary because you don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, so what? I mean, it's a scary world. It's a dangerous world that we live in. Boston pointed that up.
Yeah, I think a lot of people really want to believe that we're in a ponies and rainbows kind of society. We're not, folks, and you know that.
Yeah.
So let's stop pretending it's ponies and rainbows. And actually, people do criticize this for terror attacks that we're accurate about, but we have the best track record of anyone for medical breakthroughs, and that encourages millions of people, and we've been right all along with that. So we are seeing more medical breakthroughs, by the way, Allie.
Oh, do
Yes.
we have a second to just talk about a few of those?
Yes, and then we have a couple of overseas calls. I would like to grab those before we
okay,
before
great.
we end.
Well, real quick then. We're seeing another breakthrough in breast cancer later this year. We already predicted a couple that have happened this year, and it's very encouraging for breast cancer sufferers. We see something with ADD, which we have not predicted before, but a breakthrough in ADD over the next year. We're seeing something helping digestive disorders, so there's a health breakthrough with digestion.
I'm seeing breakthroughs in stroke as well as stem cell research.
Yes, back pain treatment. Another one for osteoporosis. We're optimistic about that. So back pain and osteo go hand in hand too. And we're seeing a bridge between allopathic medicine and alternative medicines in the coming year.
And we're seeing
so it
more
isn't
of
so
that.
separate. The two sciences are not so separate. Natural healing alternatives will be married more with allopathic, and doctors will be communing more, not so rigid about it has to be a drug. I think they'll be opening up to new treatments. Dr. Oz has had various guests on his show, even validating psychic abilities, brain waves being different in psychic people. I don't know if anybody saw his recent show. with the medium doing the measuring of electronic brain waves of a psychic, and it really was quite compelling to watch.
Yes, I did see that. I mean, and that's the thing. Like I said, science will eventually catch up.
Yes, hopefully so.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I think everybody has to, just kind of pay attention. I mean, that's really what it's about. Pay attention to your own life and to your environment around you, and you'll know more than you think you know.
Yeah, don't let the media think for you, because you will go very far astray if you do that.